Hello, dear friends. Before starting my lecture, let me introduce myself. Tashkent Institute of Irrigation and Agricultural Mechanization Engineers from EcoGIS Center, Pirmatov Habibullo. Today, we'll discuss about conservation agriculture. After this lecture, you will understand what is the conservation agriculture, its advantages and disadvantages, as well as the adoption of conservation agriculture in the world. Based on the definition of Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, conservation agriculture is an approach to managing agro-ecosystems for improved and sustained productivity, increased profits and food security, while preserving and enhancing the resource base and the environment. This technology is considered as a sustainable land management practices because it has social, economic, and environmental values. Let's explore conservation agriculture. First of all, we start with the historical background of this technology. During 1930s, Dust Bowl, it is also called Dirty 30s, destroys the agriculture and environment of the USA and Canada plains. It gives impulse to bring up the idea implementing conservation agriculture. American authors Edward Faulkner and Louis Bromfield firstly mentioned about conservation agriculture in their works. Conservation agriculture has the three main principles: minimum soil disturbance, permanent soil cover, and crop rotation. There are several advantages of these principles. For example, minimum soil disturbance is to protect soil against erosion, improve infiltration, conserve soil moisture, cost savings. In the long term, especially by implementing conservation agriculture more than 5 years, it leads to the reduction of fertilizer amount and improves soil organic matter. As for permanent soil cover, it protects the soil from erosion by water and wind. Secondly, it preserves water and keeps the soil temperature even. Thirdly, provide the soil with nutrients. Moreover, it improves organic matter accumulation and carbon sequestration, which is very important in the context of global climate change. Crop rotation should involve at least 3 different crops. This principle is helped to mitigate the pest and disease of crops. Moreover, it improves fertility and production because of different rooting patterns, which take up nutrients at the different soil depths. Rotation helps to utilize soil nutrients more efficiently. In order to take full advantage of conservation agriculture, the main 3 principles shouldn't be omitted. There are specialized seeders and equipment for conservation agriculture. The main producer countries of such as machinery are China and Brazil. They can be 2-wheel tractors or 4-wheel tractors, even the animal traction. Raise a question: how does the seeder for conservation agriculture work? It is very simple. In the front of the seeder, there is a disc which cuts the soil. Then the opener makes the line wider. After that, falling seeds and fertilizers. In the end, there is a wheel which is closed at the opened soil line. For a small farmland, don't worry. There is also a hand seed planter, which is usually called jab planter. It works in the following way. Firstly, you stick the tip of the seed planter into the soil, then pressing handles to each other. Seeds falling from one handle box and the fertilizer falling from another handle box. Conservation agriculture contradicts with its principles from conventional agriculture. To distinguish each other, there is a given comparison of both technologies. It can be seen that conservation agriculture has more advantages comparing with conventional agriculture. This generalized table is based on the field test. Tashkent Institute of Irrigation and Agricultural Mechanization Engineers and EcoGIS Center have been experiencing conservation agriculture for 30 years. So we are 30 years with conservation agriculture. However, there are some difficulties with conservation agriculture, such as weeds issue, irrigation, uneven land, or finding machineries for conservation agriculture. These difficulties can be solved with special management. For example, weeds obstacle, especially at the beginning of the conservation agriculture adoption. With the time, the following problem is reduced. Also, crop rotation contributes in the decreasing weeds. As it's difficult to make irrigation in conservation agriculture, it is recommended to combine conservation agriculture with the new technology such as sprinkler or drip irrigation. Most importantly, it is recommended to level the land before the start conservation agriculture. As one of the economic advantages of conservation agriculture is time saving, which attracts the most farmers. Comparing the conservation agriculture with conventional agriculture for mechanized operations, it can be seen that for 1 hectare there is need 6.17 hours on the conventional tillage and 3.78 hours in conservation agriculture. It shows that farmers can save 39% of their mechanized operations by implementing conservation agriculture. Comparing the time requirements for land preparation activities under the conventional tillage with conservation agriculture, in conventional tillage for 1 hectare, farmers spend 2.9 hours by tractor and 33 hours with animal tractions. As for conservation agriculture, they need only 1.2 hours by tractor and 4.5 hours with the animal traction. Such a big difference in time appears due to the practices of different cultivation activities under the conventional agriculture, which are not implemented in conservation agriculture technology. In 2012, total conservation agriculture area was around 123 million hectares in the world. The top of 3 continents which have interest in implementing this technology are South America with 44%, North America with 32%, and the Australia, including New Zealand, with 14%. Because of the distribution of conservation agriculture in Europe, Asia, and Africa is low, there is prospective future in these continents. In 2018, 180 million hectare areas, which is 12.5% of global cropland, during the 6 years it has increased by 46% and show the prospective development of conservation agriculture in the world. If we look at the global scale, so far, conventional agriculture is dominant in the world. In order to promote the conservation agriculture technology, there is need international, regional, and national support. Based on this lecture, we can summarize that conservation agriculture is a sustainable agricultural practices. Time saving, namely 39% of all mechanized operations, 58% for the land preparation with tractors, 86% for the land preparation with animal tractions can be saved. It is also water-safe technology and carbon sequestration. Last but not least, there is the prospective future for Europe, Asia, and Africa. These are relevant literatures and websites where you can find more information about conservation agriculture. I highly recommend you to read these literatures and visit websites. If you have any questions on conservation agriculture, do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope to see you the next time.